Today, we're going to look at something incredibly personal and honestly just deeply moving. It's his son's final letter to his mother. And these are his last words, a really raw and emotional window into this unbreakable bond they shared, one that's just filled with so much love, but also so much pain. The letter starts with this incredibly desperate plea. Listen, mother, see how I'm getting trapped. Right from the very first words, you're pulled into his private world, into his struggle. It's this intimate cry for help that just sets such a heavy, heart-wrenching tone for everything that's about to come. And really, he holds nothing back. The letter is just this raw confession of a struggle that feels completely overwhelming, all-consuming. He's basically pouring his heart out from the very first line, using this really powerful metaphor to try and explain his pain. And think about the metaphor he uses here. He says he feels like he's sinking in the world's quicksand. I mean, that's so telling, isn't it? This isn't just about having a problem, it's this feeling of being completely consumed by something that's pulling you under, leaving you totally trapped and powerless. And this next line, wow, it just perfectly captures that internal battle he's fighting. He's smiling with tears in his eyes. It speaks to that profound pain of having to put on a brave face, hiding this immense suffering behind a smile. That's a kind of loneliness I think many of us can understand. And then we get to this, what feels like the very heart of his despair. I have lost to myself and to life. This shows that his battle wasn't just against the world outside. He felt like he had failed on this deep, fundamental level. It's this total sense of defeat, coming from both the inside and the out. So this brings up a really tough question. If he was in so much pain, why keep it a secret? Well, the next part of the letter shows us that his silence was a choice he believed was actually an act of love for his mother. I mean, that's the central question here, isn't it? Why would you hide your deepest suffering from the one person in the world you trust completely? He gives us his answer, and it's just absolutely heartbreaking. His reason is this: tears in your eyes, I can't bear them. I thought it better to put myself to sleep. In his mind, his final act was an attempt to protect her, to shield her from the pain of watching him suffer. He just couldn't stand the thought of being the cause of her tears. You could almost call this the protector's burden. And what's so tragic is that he also mentions her own silent pain for him. He says, "Your quiet crying killed me." So his attempt to protect her was happening while she was quietly suffering for him, creating this awful cycle of shared, unspoken pain. So it's not just about the pain and the silence. The letter also becomes so heavy with regret. You can feel that he's haunted by all the things he wanted to do for her, all the promises he now feels he failed to keep. And his regrets are so painfully specific. He talks about wanting to show her the 7 wonders, of wanting to remove the thorns from her path, and even something as small and simple as just sitting next to her and reading this very letter to her. These aren't just vague wishes. They're these tangible, heartbreaking reminders of a future he feels is now totally lost. But then, right in the middle of all this pain and regret, the tone of the letter shifts. He takes this moment to pay a really beautiful tribute to his mother, to celebrate her unconditional love and everything she meant to him. And the contrast he paints is just staggering. On one side, you have her boundless love. He says things like, "You made my hut-like life a home," and "You didn't earn respect, you earned my love." But on the other side, there's his crushing view of himself. "God, don't give a child like me to anyone." It's this stark, devastating gap between the immense love he felt from her and his own feelings of being completely unworthy of it. As the letter starts to come to a close, he gives his final instructions. But wrapped up inside all of that is this profound sense of hope, a wish for a second chance to do it all over again. His last requests are focused entirely on her. Take care of everyone. Don't cry too much. Don't sleep with my photo close to you. Even at the very, very end, his main concern is trying to ease her pain. And then his final heartbreaking request is for her to send him off with a smile. And this is his ultimate wish. "Mother, I will come, born again. You be my mother once more in another life." He's hoping for another chance, a whole other lifetime where he can finally fulfill his promises and feel like he's worthy of her love. It just shows, without a doubt, that she was his entire world. A letter like this is just such a powerful, painful reminder of
all the things we sometimes leave unspoken. And it leaves us with this one kind of haunting question for our own lives. How much love is left unsaid? It's definitely something to think about.